Cole works security for a cargo company in Bangkok called KMJ. He watches every corner of the lobby until word comes down that his boss has finished his meeting. Then Tibu steps out of the lift with his son Cameron and a business partner. Tibu stops in front of a model ship in the lobby and remembers that his whole empire started with that one boat. Outside, Cole shakes Cameron's hand and congratulates him on the deal. In the car, Tibu tells his son to stay relaxed about the partnership since the export expansion contract was Cameron's own idea. Back at the house, Tibu sends Cole to run his security checks, then reminds him they still have unfinished business. Cole finds his colleague Taran and confirms nothing is off with the schedule. Then he sits down with Tibu to finish their chess game. Tibu is impressed by his skill and asks where he learned to play. Cole says he learned it in prison from the best chess player in the world, who was serving time while Cole was posted there. Then Tibu asks if he misses being a cop. Cole admits he misses the action, but not the politics. Then Tibu reminds him it is his father's birthday and says he wishes he had known the man. Cole thanks him for remembering, but says it is better they never met, because his father would have beaten Tibu at chess far worse than he does. Then Cole goes to his room, opens his tablet, looks at an old photo of his father, and wishes him a happy birthday. This is Mutiny. The next day, Cole drives Tibu and Cameron to a party celebrating the new business deal. He watches everyone who comes near Tibu. One man catches his eye, so he asks Taran who he is. Taran pulls up a profile for Jaran, an export businessman with Trans-Pacific. Cole keeps watching him, but Jaran greets a few people and leaves. Then Tibu opens the evening with a speech. He brags that his shipping company has the cleanest record on the open sea in 40 years and praises Cameron for driving the record sales. Then he gives his son a watch. Then he gives Cole a watch too, engraved with the date they met 5 years ago, the night Cole saved his life. He hired him that same night, and he tells the room Cole has been family ever since. Meanwhile, Jaran is on the phone outside, telling someone that everything between them ends tonight. On the drive home, Cole asks if he's all right. Tibu admits he never imagined selling the company. He's only doing it for Cameron, because KMJ was his own dream and never his son's, and he wants the boy free to chase something of his own. Then a police roadblock stops them. Cole knows immediately that something is wrong. He throws the car into reverse, but a second car blocks him in. Then he pulls his gun and a shootout erupts. Cole kills every attacker. But Tibu takes a bullet. With his last breath, he begs Cole to protect Cameron. Cole calls Taran and asks if Cameron is with him. He tells him about the ambush and Tibu's death and warns that police were involved, so there is nobody they can trust. One of the dead men was American. Cole reads him the passport number and Taran runs it. It belongs to Jonathan Rogers, a former Marine now signed on as KMJ crew, shipping out in 2 hours tonight aboard a vessel called the Artemis. So Cole heads for the port to find out who ordered the hit. Across the city, Jaran learns that Tibu is dead, but the bodyguard escaped alive. He snaps at his men and orders his police contact to put out an APB and make sure Cole ends up dead. By morning, it is all over the news. 2 officers killed at a routine traffic stop, shipping billionaire Tibu murdered, and the prime suspect is his own bodyguard. Angie catches the report while packing to fly home to Los Angeles to see her daughter. Then KMJ calls and orders her aboard the Artemis because they are short of crew. She refuses, since this is her leave and her ticket is already booked. But they tell her that if she is not at her post within the hour, she is fired. At Cameron's house, 2 detectives arrive with questions about his father. Before they can start, his phone rings, and it is Cole. Cole apologizes for failing to save his father, tells him the news reports are lies, and warns him to stay home, because whoever killed Tibu will come for him next. Then Cole reaches the port and hands Jonathan's passport to the dock guard. Jonathan looks close enough to him that the guard waves him through. He clears the crew check, boards the Artemis, and finds a hiding place before he starts hunting. On the bridge, Angie reports to the captain, Marco. He tells her flat out he does not want her, since he already has 20 good hands for this run. Angie agrees with him and offers to walk off. But the order came from the company, so neither of them has a choice. Marco has a crewman named Theo take her to her cabin. Once the ship is well clear of port, Cole starts searching. Angie is sent out on patrol. Then she hears a door open somewhere below and follows the sound. Down in the cargo hold, Cole checks the containers and finds one packed with people. He gets close to a woman named Seng and asks what they are doing in there. She says they were promised freedom once the ship reached Bangkok, and she cannot understand why they have been locked in instead. Cole tells them to stay calm because he is not one of the crew, and promises to come back with food, water, and medical supplies. But before he can go, Angie walks in, so he hides. She gets the people out of the container and tells a crewman named Joseph to watch them while she takes it to the captain. Angie tells Marco she found dozens of people locked in the lower hold, that they are in terrible shape, and that they need to call the Navy right now. Marco acts shocked, but he and his crew are the ones smuggling them, to be sold off as illegal migrants. He tells her to stay calm while he sends Simon and Joseph to secure them. Angie does not believe a word of it, and while he is on the radio, she slips out. Back in the hold, Simon and Joseph are forcing the migrants into the container at gunpoint, so Cole uses the distraction and attacks. Meanwhile, Angie runs for the bridge to call the Navy, but a crewman named Matteo stops her with a pistol and radios the captain. Then Matteo loses focus for a second, and Angie jumps him. Cole kills Simon and Joseph, then leads the migrants toward the lifeboats. Angie reaches the bridge and transmits an emergency distress code. Marco catches her at it and she runs, but he puts a bullet through her left shoulder. Then he orders Matteo to kill the distress transmission, snaps at him for losing a fight to a woman, and tells him to disable the lifeboat so she cannot get off the ship. At the lifeboat, Cole hands one of the migrant men a pistol to guard the rest while he goes back for the woman who helped them. The distress code reaches the USS Hazard Perry. Officer Yates reports that it came from the cargo ship KMJ Artemis and that the code signals an attack, though pirates in that water make no sense. Captain Spencer calls the Artemis directly. Marco answers and claims a panicked crewman set it off after mistaking a fishing boat for a threat. Spencer finds that strange, since the Artemis is nowhere near any fishing fleet. He ends the call, then orders his men to check all traffic around the Artemis and dig up everything on her captain. At Cameron's house, Detective Jemai comes back and asks where Cole is, because phone records show Cameron took a call from a burner right after the ambush near the port. Cameron lies and says he does not remember any call, that too much has happened and he cannot think straight. Jemai lets it go, but tells him to call the second he remembers, because his father's killer is their highest priority. On the Artemis, Cole finds Angie and pulls her into a room to hide from Marco's men. She asks who he is. He only tells her he is not one of them, and that her bullet wound matters more right now. So they move into the engine room and put on headsets so the noise does not drown them out. While he works on her shoulder, Angie admits she already recognized him from the news, but she does not push him about it. Instead, she talks about her own life to pull her mind off the pain. She has a deadbeat ex-husband and a 6-year-old daughter. She used to share custody, but after she was thrown out of the Navy, she lost it, and now she gets 2 days a month. Up above, Matteo finds the migrants at the lifeboat before they can escape and drives them back inside. Then another crewman spots a blood trail smeared along a bulkhead leading toward the engine room and calls Marco down. But by the time they get inside, all they find is the leftovers of Angie's first aid. Then Matteo finds a bag holding Jonathan's identity card and brings it to Marco. Marco works out that someone has stolen Jonathan's papers, and with Simon and Joseph dead, this is not Angie's work but a professional's, so he orders every man on the ship to hunt the intruder down. Angie finally asks Cole about Bangkok, why the news says he killed Tibu and 2 policemen. He tells her that is not what happened, but he refuses to say more, because what matters is getting her and the migrants off this ship. So Angie tells him there is no cell signal out here, but there is a satellite phone on the bridge, and all they need is a distraction to empty it. Then they break into the electrical room and set the wiring on fire. The fire alarm screams through the ship. Marco knows straight away it is a diversion and splits his men into teams. He puts Diego on the tower, sends Matteo down with the fire crew, and takes the deck himself. Cole and Angie reach the bridge, where Cole drops the one man left on watch. Then Angie calls the Hazard Perry, and nothing comes back at first. Meanwhile, Marco realizes nobody on the bridge is answering him, raises his binoculars, and spots the 2 of them up there. He sends a man to the bridge, but Cole takes him down just as Captain Spencer picks up. Angie gives them the ship's coordinates, tells them the captain is running a human trafficking operation, and says she and a man named Cole are trying to save the people on board. Then the call ends, and Cole hides a live radio in the corner of the bridge before they slip away. In Angie's cabin, she goes quiet over a photo of her daughter, sure she will never see the girl again. So Cole promises he will get her off this ship alive. Meanwhile, the crew gathers on the bridge. Marco tells them the man hunting them is no stowaway, but Cole, Tibu's personal bodyguard, and that the handover happens in 2 hours. Then he calls Jaran, furious, demanding to know how Cole is walking around his ship when he was supposed to die with Tibu. He moves the delivery forward, tells Jaran that a buyer named Bertus arrives in 2 hours, and orders him to have the money ready. Then he asks how things stand with Cameron. Jaran says everything is running as normal, and that with Tibu gone, the business will only grow bigger. Cole hears all of it through the hidden radio and goes cold when Cameron's name comes up. He cannot be certain the son is in on it, but Marco is in it, and Marco is going to pay for Tibu. Then Marco's men close in on the cabin, so the 2 of them run. They agree to hold out until the Navy arrives, But first they need to check on the migrants. With the decks crawling with guards, they take the ventilation shafts down. Spencer gets Marco's file. 13 years with KMJ, 10 of them as captain, a Danish national who served in Afghanistan. He faced 2 military hearings, one for smuggling and one for killing a man on his own team, and neither stuck because his unit refused to talk. Half his current crew are former mercenaries. Cole, meanwhile, is wanted for murdering his employer and 2 Thai police officers. So Spencer pulls satellite footage of the Artemis and sees her crew carrying illegal MP5s. He still does not know what is happening out there, but he sends a small team ahead. Cole ropes down through the vent shaft, but 2 crewmen walk in below him before he reaches the bottom. He gets clear of that ambush, only for another crewman to grow suspicious of the vent. Cole braces himself against the walls to stay silent, but his arms give out and the noise gives him away. He fights his way out alive. Angie takes another route, creeping along to stay unseen, until Mateo catches her and drags her to the bridge. Marco leaves 1 man to guard her and splits the rest to hunt Cole. Marco reaches the room at the end of the vent and goes in with 3 men. Cole shoots out the light switch so he can fight them in the dark, but Marco outsmarts him, backs out, and locks the door from the outside. Then Spencer receives Cole's file. He is a former Royal Marine, born and raised in London. His mother dead when he was 7. His father and grandfather both police. 2 tours in Afghanistan, then the London police, several commendations, and finally a posting under his own father's command in the Specialist Firearms Unit SCO-19. One night, while his unit was watching a syndicate operation, Cole pushed too far and got trapped inside. His father went in to pull him out and was shot dead. Hearing that, Spencer says he would bet his pension that Cole is on that ship for one reason: to find whoever killed Tibu. Cole works his way into a second vent and crawls out. Meanwhile, a boat comes alongside. Marco calls Duran to confirm the money has been sent, then goes down to meet Bertus and hand over the cargo. Cole surfaces in the anchor room, squeezes out through the chain hole, climbs onto the deck, and takes down a guard. Below, Angie saws at her ropes with a shard of glass. Bertus inspects the migrants and tells Marco the goods look good this time. But gunfire cracks somewhere above, and he turns on Marco. Marco tells him there is a stowaway on board and to sit tight until it is handled. Angie gets her hands free and attacks her guard. Then Mateo walks in, and she kills him too. Up top, Marco's men move in on Cole, and he cuts through every one of them. Then Marco finds him and the 2 trade shots, but Cole runs dry, so he ducks into cover and takes up an axe. Bertus arrives and pulls his attention for a second. Cole slips Marco's swing and drives the axe at him, but Marco is tougher than he expects and buries a knife in Cole's chest. Their fight carries on to a stairway. Cole throws him down the steps and finishes him in the brutal brawl below. Then Spencer's Navy team storms aboard. They cuff Cole and start hauling him away, but Angie comes running and tells them he is her partner. She explains who she is to Commander Tully and says this man saved her life and every migrant on the ship. Tully asks if he is Cole. Angie says Cole was shot and went over the side into the sea. Tully takes her at her word and cuts Cole loose. Then she thanks him for everything and hands him Marco's satellite phone, loaded with every call made during the voyage. Tully reports to Spencer that the Artemis is secure. Marco and his crew are dead, and the migrants are safe. Cole was never found, since Angie says he was shot and fell into the ocean. He adds that 1 crewman they cannot identify is leaving alone in a small boat. Spencer only smiles and tells him to finish cleaning up the ship. Once he's clear of the Artemis, Cole calls Taryn and has him run a number off the phone. It comes back registered to Duran. Some time passes. Cameron visits his father's grave, prays, and gets into his car, only to find Cole already sitting inside. Without being asked a single question, Cameron confesses. He let them use the ships to move cargo, and they paid him enormous money. But he never knew what was really inside. He says he tried to stop it on his own, only for everything to spiral, and he never thought they would go this far. Cole believes him. Then he tells Cameron that his father died because of him, and that he will live with that guilt for the rest of his life. That night, Duran sits in his car checking his stocks. Then another car slams into him on purpose, and Cole climbs out of it. He walks up and asks Duran why he had Tibu killed. Duran says that with Tibu dead, the company falls to Cameron, a cornered man he can control. Then he says every man wants something, and asks what Cole wants, promising to give it to him. Cole is silent for a moment. Then he says what he wants is revenge, and he shoots Duran dead. So the moral of the story is never trust a cargo ship with more secret rooms than an IKEA showroom.